Hi, welcome to my channel Ruby Stedman. Today I'll be teaching you how to knit this beautiful baby hat. It's very easy to do. It's a repetition of 4 rows, and I will be giving you as well the measurements for different sizes from 0 a month to 10 years of age. So I hope you guys like it and give it a try, and here is the list of material you're gonna need to make it. To make this baby hat, I'm gonna use this yarn is Craft Smart value 333 meters or 198 grams, medium 4, 100% acrylic, and is bright red. The netting needles that I'm gonna use, they are 5.5 millimeter. You're gonna need a tapestry needle and scissor, something to keep track of your rows, either a row counter or a paper and a pen or a pencil to keep track, and a measuring tape to measure the size that you want your hat. Now to cast on, you need to leave a tail long enough to do that. So before I start, I'm gonna mention the different sizes that you can make your hat. I put some styrofoam in here at the end, that way I don't make a lot of noise when I'm recording. So if you want to make this hat for a newborn, I recommend 54 stitches. 52 for the stitch and 2 for the border. And this stitch is multiple of 4 plus 2. So if you want this for 3 to 6 months, I recommend 58 stitches, and from 6 to 12 months, that's the one I'm gonna make, 62 stitches. 60 for the stitch and 2 for the border. The newborn hat, the circumference is 14 inch or 36 centimeters, give or take around there. From 3 to 6 months, 17 inches or 43 centimeters. For 6 to 12 months, that is the one that I'm gonna make, is 18 inches or 46 centimeters. From 12 months to 3 years, 19 inches or 48 centimeters. And from 3 years to 10 years, a 20 inch or 51 centimeter for the circumference. So that's why for each hat, you add 4 more stitches. So if you want to make this one for 1 year old to 3, you'll add to the 62, you add 4 more, so you'll do 66, and that's all working with the same size needle as this one, 5.5. If you change your size needle, you have to change the amount of stitches. If you use a smaller needle, you have to add more stitches to your hat, and if you use a bigger needle, you have to remove some stitches. Okay, but always a 4 and 4. So I got a cast on for mine 62. So I'm gonna wrap my yarn 31 times in here. Once I have my 31 time, I will remove from the needle, fold it in half like this, and then grab at the end, and I'll have the amount of yarn that I need for my 62 stitches. So I'll do that off camera, and I'll show you how we're gonna cast. Once you have your strand of yarn that you need for casting on, you're gonna do a slip knot, and that loop counts as the first stitch of your number of stitches you're casting on. For mine are 62, so that will be number 1. So this is the tail and this side here, and then I'm gonna place my finger here to hold that stitch, and I'm gonna start casting on my 62 stitches. So after I finish this hat, I will do another size one for next Wednesday. So just by changing the size needle and a few stitches, you'll see how you can do another size one. So I will meet you here when I have my 62 and you finish casting on. You're gonna do a knot here to secure the first stitch. So usually the first border stitch you pass it without working. This time we're gonna do a net. And this repetition in here you'll do throughout your hat. And then we're gonna start with one purl, and then we're gonna do 2 nets, 2 purl, 2 net now, 2 net, 2 purl, 2 net, 2 purl. Like that you're going to continue until the end, where you're going to do, when you have to, you're going to do 1 purl and the border stitch. So make sure here when I have those 2 left to show you how we're going to finish. But remember, here is 2 net, 2 purl, 2 net, 2 purl, and 2 net, 1 purl, and the border stitch. Here I have my 2 left. So this one is a purl, and the border stitch you're gonna pass it without working. You're gonna turn your work around, and you're gonna net that border stitch. And that border stitch is loose there. You see, this is in the one before the second one is where you have the strand. So you're gonna net that first stitch. Always you're gonna net the first border stitch. And then this one here now is a net, because it was a purl on the other side. So you're gonna net this one, and then you're gonna do 2 purls to net, 2 purls to net. You're gonna work the stitches as you see them. Now 2 net, 2 purl, 2 net, and you're going to continue. At the end you're going to end up with a net and a border stitch that you're going to pass to the needle without working. Always the last one you're going to pass it without working. But at the end I will show you how to leave the yarn before you pass the last stitch. Here I have one left and the border. So you're going to net this one. The last one is a net. And then when you do your net stitch, you're going to pass your yarn to the front, and you're going to pass that one without work. And by doing this with the yarn in the front, when you turn your work around and you're going to net that first stitch, your strand of yarn is on the back. If you don't do that, I will show you. By leaving the strand of yarn in the back when you finish the net and passing this one, when you're gonna work the first stitch that is a net, your yarn will be in the front. Okay, so it's easier that way. That's a little bit a trick to work the last stitch like that. So now we're gonna start the third row, and it's the repetition of row number 1. You're gonna net the first border stitch, and then you're gonna purl the next one, and then you're gonna work the stitches as you see them. 2 net, 2 purl, 2 net, 2 purl, 2 net, and then 1 purl at the end, and the border stitch that you're gonna pass without working. And then you're going to do then the repetition of row number 2. You do a net, the border stitch, and net. That will be the purl that we did in here. And then you will continue with 2 purls to net, 2 purls to net, and at the end you will finish with a net and then remember, pass the yarn to the front and pass the last stitch without working. I know you're gonna say it's a little bit of work doing this way with the border stitch and that, but let me tell you, at the end of the hat, once you start sewing your hat, you're gonna have a seamless hat, because usually when you work with a straight needle, when you sew your hats, you will have a seam. So this stitch, you will see, will be a seamless hat. So you know, it's a little bit of work doing it this way, but it works well. So I will meet you here when I done my border, and for the border at this hat, I'm gonna do 10 row. You're gonna do less, you're gonna do more. I just want to be able to fold this up in the brim of the hat. Just do a little bit of a fold. So that's why I'm gonna give it 10 row. Something that I wanted to mention is, if you're making this for a newborn to 3 months, I recommend 6 row for this. If you're doing for a 3 months to 6, do 8 rows. And like mine, that is from 6 months to a year, will be 10 row. So you're doing from 12 months to 3 years, you stay with the 10 rows. But if you're doing from 3 years to 10, I recommend to do 12 rows. Okay, and here I'm done 6 rows so far. I have to do 4 more. Here I have my 10 rows, and they measure 6.5 centimeters. So if you lost count of your stitches here, I'm going to show you a way to count them. That way they are nice and easy. So the first one here, the first net, you don't want to count because those were the cast on. So you're going to start with the next one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And then the one on your needle is row number 10. So that's an easy way to keep count of your row for this. Now we're going to start with the stitch that we're going to do for the hat. And the stitch is change every 4 rows. It's a repetition of 4 rows. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then you come back again, 1, 2, 3, 4, and so on. So you have to start in the right side of your piece in here, and the right side is when your tail is in the front of the tip of your needle. So now we're going to start with our stitch. We're going to start with the border stitch. We're going to net that stitch, and always the purl will stay purl in the right side, and they will be net in the wrong side. Okay, so they stay the same. The only change is in these 2 net. Okay, so you're gonna purl your first purl, you're gonna net 1. Now you have to do a yarn over. So to do a yarn over in the next stitch, you have to bring the yarn to the front and net the next stitch, and that's what we're gonna do in this row. So the next 2 is 2 purls, so you're gonna do 2 purls, 1 and 2, yarn to the back. You have your 2 nets, so you're gonna net the first one, you're gonna do a yarn over, so you bring the yarn to the front, and that creates the yarn over in here when you work the next net. So in this row we are doing 1 increase in between the nets. So in row number 3 we're gonna decrease that stitch, and that create our motif or design. So now 2 purls, so you're gonna keep the purl as a purls, yarn to the back, you're gonna do the first net, yarn to the front to create a yarn over, and you're gonna do another net. Again, 2 purls, yarn to the back, 1 net, yarn to the front, and you're gonna do another net, and that creates the yarn over in between. So yarn to the front, 2 purl, yarn to the back, 1 net, yarn to the front, and another net. Like that, you're going to continue until the end, where you're going to finish with a purl and your border stitch you're going to pass without working. Now we're going to work row number 2. We're going to net the border stitch. So we're going to work the stitches as we see them. So the first one here is a net. Now we have these 3 here, the 2 net that we did with a yarn over in the middle. So those 3 will be purls. That's the yarn over. You will do a purl, and then the other one a purl. Now you see you stitch here. You have 2 nets. You will do those 2 nets. The next 3, that was the 2 net with the yarn over in the center, will be 3 purl. Now you're going to do your 2 nets. And then you have your 3 purls in here. So this stitch is very easy. And then 2 net. So you're going to continue 2 net, 3 purl, 2 net, 3 purl, 2 net, 3 purl. And then at the end in here you'll have 1 net and the last border stitch that you will pass the yarn after the net to the front. Pass your border stitch without working, and then we'll meet you here to do row number 3. Now we're going to start row number 3, and now we're going to cast off those stitches that we increase. So the first one you're going to net the border stitch. You see these ones always stay the same. And you're going to do your first purl. Now here we have our 3 net, and what we're going to do is yarn to the back. You're going to pass the first net to your needle without working, and then you're going to do 2 nets. 1 and 2. And you're going to pass that stitch that you passed to the needle without working over those other 2 that you net, and you're going to cast it off like this. Now these 2 are 2 purl, so you're going to do those 2 purl. Yarn to the back. Again, you're going to pass that stitch, that net, to the other side needle, and then you're going to net the next 2 and you're going to pass that third one here. If you count 1, 2, the third one on top of those two. And that's what create like a number 8 for the design. Again, yarn to the front, 2 pearls, yarn to the back, pass that one without working, and then you have 2 net. My battery's dying. And then you're going to pass the third one on top of this one, these two, and then you're going to do 2 pearl, and you're going to continue doing this all the way to the end, and you're going to finish with your pearl and your border stitch. And then I will meet you here to do row number 4, that is the last one at the sequence of 4. Every 4 row you change to row number 1. So remember, 2 pearl, you pass the first net without working, do 2 net and cast off that net that you have in here on top of those 2. Okay. Now for row number 4, you're gonna net the border stitch, and the next stitch is a net, Now here you have 2 pearls, and 2 net, and that is this row. 2 pearls, 2 net, 2 pearls, 2 net, all the way to the end. Because now we don't have that extra stitch, we cast it off, so we have our amount of stitch that we start with. So you're going to continue with this 2 pearls, 2 net, 2 pearls, 2 net, and you're going to finish with a net and your border stitch at the end that you're going to pass without working. And you see the 2 pearls, let me show you, they look like this in here. Okay, those are the 2 pearls, 1 and 2. After that, we're going to start again with row number 1. Once you finish that row, it will look like this. Doesn't seem like much right now, but wait until you do a few repetitions and you will love this stitch. I love this stitch for hats. So now we're going to start row number 5, that is repetition of row number 1. You're going to net the first one, because that's the border stitch. And then you have the first pearl. And then you have your 2 nets. There is where the change is. You're going to net the first one. You bring your yarn to the front to create a yarn over. And then you're going to do another net. And that's what you're going to do in this row. Again, 2 pearls. Those 2 pearls always stay as a pearl back and forth. They never change. You see? They stay straight up. Now you have the 2 nets in here, and that's where you're going to do the yarn over in between. So you do a net, and to do the yarn over, to create that extra stitch, you bring the yarn to the front, and when you do the net, you see, when you pass your needle to the back to do the net, you're creating that stitch in between. Then 2 pearl, one net, yarn to the front, another net, 2 pearl, yarn to the back, one net, yarn to the front, another net. So that you're going to continue all the way to the end, and remember you're going to finish with the pearl and the border stitch that you're going to pass without working. To look like this. Row number 6 is a repetition of row number 2. So you're going to net the border stitch, and then the first one here is a net, and then you have your 3 stitches that will be 3 pearls. So that way 1, and that was the yarn over, you see, 2 and 3. Yarn to the back, and then you have 2 nets. Yarn to the front, 3 pearls. Yarn to the back, 2 nets. And you see it's a very easy stitch, so you always keeping those the same. In the wrong side there are 2 net, and whatever you have in between those 2 nets, those 3 stitches, you have to do pearl. So you're going to continue with your 3 pearl, 2 net, 3 pearls, 2 net, 3 pearl, and then you're going to end up with 1 net and the border stitch that you're going to pass without working. And then in the next row we're going to be crossing the stitch again, and that's what it looks like so far. Row number 7 is the repetition of row 3. So you're going to net the border stitch, you're going to do your pearl in here, and then you have your 3 nets. And we have to cast off the first one, so we're going to pass the first one without working, yarn to the back, and then you're going to net the next 2, and then you want to pass the first one on top of those two. Like this. Now you're going to do 2 pearls. Yarn to the back, pass the first one, knit 2, and pass that one without working on top of those 2. Knit. Let's start to look like this. So again, you're going to purl 2, yarn to the back, pass that one without working, knit 2, and pass that third one from the tip of the needle and top of those 2. Yarn to the front, 2 purl, yarn to the back, pass that one, 2 knit, and pass the third one on top of those 2. Like that, you're going to continue all the way to the end, and you're going to finish with 1 purl, and you're going to pass that one without working, and then row number 8 is the repetition of row number 4. That will be 2, you pass the first stitch, and there will be 1 knit, and then 2 purl, 2 knit, 2 purl, 2 knit, and then you're going to finish with the knit and the border stitch, and then you're going to start row number 9 is the repetition of row number 1. And that's what I've done in here in a piece of paper to keep track of my rows. It's easier this way than with a row counter. I start putting from 1 to 24, and then each time I do a row I mark that row done, and then I know after row 4, row number 5 start again with row number 1 until we do row number 8, row number 9 start row number 1. So row number 13 will be like row number 1, 17 and 21 will be like row number 1. I just marked 24, could be more, could be less. So now for the length of the hat, I have this one here that I made for adult. This is the stitch. It look amazing. So you don't see the seam just by doing the border. Let me see if I can find it. Oh, it's here and here, but you see, you don't see it. So this one is an adult size, but I don't did the length long enough to do this. If I do this to the hat, it will be for probably 11 years old maybe for the length, but the width is a little bit big for, you see, because it's an adult size. But this one will be on like this with no folding at this part in here. So for this one, if you are going to leave it straight like this without folding the brim, what you do is you measure from the border, and I'm going to give you the measurements for different sizes. So from here to the length, before you start the decrease, you're going to do 6 inches or 15 centimeters for a newborn to 3 months. From 3 months to 6 months, a 7 inch or 18 centimeters. For 6 months to 1 year, that is this one, I'm gonna do 7.5 you can do 7.5 or 19 centimeters. For 1 year to 3, 8 inches or 20.5 centimeters, and from 3 years to 10, 8.5 inches or 22 centimeters. That is if you don't gonna fold this. If you're gonna fold this, let's say in here, and then you start measuring those centimeters from here, not from the tip. They have to be a little bit longer, that way from here to the top of the hat it will be those centimeters that you need. So for mine, I will start measuring after I fold it like this, and I will let you know how many rows I will do of the design for mine, okay? And the measurements after. It will be more than 90 centimeters because I'm gonna fold this, okay? So I'm gonna continue working with my design. So it's a really beautiful design. I will show you how to do another size one. And I did this one. I'm working another one. This will be presents for Christmas. They're gorgeous. So I will work on mine and I will show you the progress, and I will let you know how many rows I will do for my leg. Here I did a mistake on purpose. That way I show you how you can correct them if you forget to pass the one that you left without working on top of it. What you do, you see I left this one in here, and what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna pass these two pearls into the other needle, and then I come here and then pass this one, and then I will put those back again. And that's what I did when I had a mistake around here. I think it was around here, and I already worked quite a few stitches. So I passed them to this needle. I did the stitch over those two, and then I placed them back again in here. Okay? And you know, if you have made a mistake by looking at, if you don't see these long stitches, missing one, and then you know that you did here. I did another mistake on purpose to show you another way that you can fix if you forgot to do the yarn over in between these two net. So in this part you have to remove the stitches. So the easiest way is, you see I have two pearls here, so the yarn is to the front. You come here and remove the first pearl by going under the one on in the needle. You pass it through and you remove. Again, you go into the stitch under here and do the same. And I had to remove that net. You bring yarn to the back and grab this loop under the one on your needle and remove it, and there you are where you're supposed to be to create your yarn over. That's another trick that I wanted to show you just in case that you made that mistake. And there I fixed that. Here I've done the length that I want for mine, and look how beautiful that stitch look. Amazing. So I did 28 rows of the design plus the 10 row of the border here. Okay, so now I'm gonna start with the decrease. For the decrease, you're gonna work your border stitch, and now you're gonna do two together, and two together, and a net stitch. Like this all the way to the end. Once you finish, you're gonna have the border stitch. You're gonna pass your yarn to the front, and you're gonna pass that stitch. You're gonna turn your work around, and then you're gonna net the first one, and then yarn to the front, and you're gonna do two together, two together, two together, and a purl stitch. So at the end you will have your border stitch, just one. We're gonna do the border stitch. Now we're gonna do two together, and a net stitch until the end. And then you will come back again with two together, and a purl stitch. At the end you're gonna end up with 6 stitches. So now you have to cut the yarn for sewing, and cut extra, because it's better to have extra and not enough. Now I'm ready to close the hat in the top, and I'm gonna pass those 6 stitches through the needle. Now I'll remove the needle, and I will pass again one more time my yarn through those stitches. I like to do it twice always, that way it's nice and secure the top of my hat. Now I'm gonna start sewing in the side, and I'm sewing in the side of the border stitch. In between that border stitch and the purls is where I'm sewing my hat. In between those 2 stitches. So make sure that you are sewing even in here, matching the stitches, that way you have an even work at the end. So you see, in between the purl and the border stitch is where I'm sewing. Once you finish sewing, pull it a little bit like this, that way it loosen up a little bit the stitch before you lose the tails. So lose the tails, and you see it looks seamless by doing the work like that. So once you lose the tail, if you want, you can put a pom-pom here, or you can leave it like this. My daughter want a white pom-pom and this one for William. Well, here is the hat with the pom-pom. Now I'm gonna put it on William, and I will show you the end result. Well, this is the end result, and I love this hat. I love it so much that I'm gonna be making quite a few of these for Christmas presents this year. So any beginner can make this hat just by following those 4 rows. Yes, continue repeating those 4 rows and you'll have this beautiful hat. So I hope you guys like it, and give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel if you are not already a subscriber. And if you make this piece and you want to send me some pictures, you can do it through my Facebook page, Ruby Stedman, or you can find me in my Instagram, Ruby Stedman Crochet. Please share my video with friends and family, that way you help me grow here in YouTube. And don't forget to check my other videos in my channel. I wish you have a beautiful day. Bye.